adjust things. But let's look at our capacity analysis here. So again, I would probably skip through all of this stuff here and go right to this section here. Either the lane group results or the movement, approach, and intersection results. So what you'll see here is that the northbound approach is operating at level service C. It has fairly low delay. The eastbound approach is operating a little bit more, level service E. So obviously has a little bit of capacity concerns. Oh, sorry, this is, southbound is operating at level service E. Then we have the eastbound through is at B, but the eastbound left is level service E. And then we have it, so again, maybe acceptable as these E's are, but preferably we want to try and get them a little bit better. Now we have an F for the westbound left, and we have delay of 115 seconds. That is not good. So besides us maybe changing the splits, we could try a 120-second cycle if we wanted to. Does anyone have any other ideas of how to maybe make this westbound left operate better? Anybody?
Can we make it as fully protective?
Sure.
Same as
yeah, so let's go ahead and change that now. So you go all the way back up to near the top. So you'll see that if you go back to the volume screen, we had 200 lefts. 200 lefts per hour is a fairly decent number of left turns. So it's something we probably want to consider for a left turn phase. So you could either do protected, and then it would be the same as the other side of the road, or you might want to make it protected permissive. Protected permissive would allow the vehicles to turn left during their dedicated phase, but it would also allow them to turn left on the green. So you could look at either option. Because it's a single left turn lane, you might want to consider having it as protected permissive. So I put it as protected permissive as an example. It's now going to change. You see a 1 in my diagram. You want to go through and make sure all of these numbers make sense again. They do. 3-second amber, 1 second all red probably makes sense. 2-second, 3-second extension. So I think the numbers that added were all fine. So you scroll all the way back down. And lo and behold, now it's level service C. So you've improved that movement. But now you have some issues with the other movements. Now they're at level service F. So let's scroll back up and go to the volume section for a second. What do you guys notice about the southbound approach?
Has a high volume.
What volume is high?
The right turn, southbound right turn.
Exactly. So that's a fairly high right turn movement. So this might be a good case where you'd say, hey, this intersection should have a right turn lane. So maybe your capacity analysis, you recommend this should have a right turn lane. So you add a right turn lane. And then you don't really want to have this through left-right combination. That's a little bit weird. So you'd probably end up having a shared through left and an exclusive right. Oh, whoops, sorry. I gotta pick this option here, if that makes any sense. So we'll go back down here, see what else is, and now it's showing still level service E, but definitely a little bit better than it was before. Has everybody figured out how to do that?
Jeff, what if we are restricted in area? We cannot add like additional lanes, so we can change it to be an overlap, right?
Correct. That was my next thing I was going to go with. So an overlapping right turn arrow is probably something you only want to put in if you have an exclusive right turn lane now. So if you want to change that option and see what it does, currently I have level service E, delay of about 60 seconds here. You could go up here, back to your phasing. And you could change this from being permissive to being an overlap. So now it's going to model that it's going to overlap while the left turn arrow is on for eastbound. I think for signal group here, you're going to want to put in what it overlaps with. So it's going to overlap with phase 5. So I think you want to put in a phase 5 there. So actually you want to put in both options. You can go with phase 4 or it can go with phase 5. So you click 4 and 5, make sure they're highlighted there, and click OK. And that is what an auxiliary signal group would be. All right, before I move on, does that make any sense to anyone, or is that just really confusing?
We selected 4 and 5 for the overlap, so that's mean that they will overlap twice, or signal will do the iteration one time for phase 4 and the second time for phase 5. I didn't understand.
Yes, it's kind of a confusing concept, but if you think about it, basically all it means is that the people that are turning right there will have a green arrow to turn right, both during phase 4 and during phase 5.
Okay.
So phase 5 is the eastbound left, so that's what phase it would conflict with. Or sorry, that's the phase that it would go with, right? So if people are turning left here, and then these people are stopped, then we can allow the right turns to proceed. So I wanted to bring that up just so I could show you guys how to put in an auxiliary signal group there. So that would be how you do that. And at this point, my diagram looks a little bit messy here, right? I haven't really fixed anything up. So it's in need of optimization again. So I go down here and I look at, oh, almost everything is operating well now except for my eastbound left. So it probably means that the eastbound left needs more time. So I'll click on the picture of the traffic signal again, click on it, click lead again, and now it's optimized my signal timing. Did everybody get that to work?
So Jeff, we didn't have to change the optimization that when you selected at the beginning that you want the cycle lengths to be between 80 and 100.
Yeah,
so
that's correct.
Yeah, we didn't need to change anything. We were just playing around the phasing and the control, signal control.
Yeah, so this first button, the traffic signal, just does, it optimizes your cycle and your split based on what you kind of have. And then if you click on the next one, that's when you can start going into the more complex optimization, such as changing cycle lengths. Or you have the optimize split button. So if I want to optimize my splits here, that's the third one over. It shows a picture of what looks like a half-eaten pie. You would then select again, I would suggest the VC balancing, and then you click OK. And in this case, it had nothing to optimize because it already optimized it. But if you change the cycle length, then you could actually use that again. So you want to play with these 3 buttons at the top, the default signalization one, the optimizing of split and cycles, or just the optimizing of the splits. So these are the ones you want to play with up here.
What's the meaning of optimizing the splits? It will change the phasing number? I didn't understand.
Nope, so none of these will change the phasing. So you're just optimizing how much green time you have allocated to every phase. So this program will do it for you. So it basically helps you decide how much green time you want. And the way you would determine that is by looking at your results. So if you look at the results now, and I click lane level service, now I've got level service C's, D's, and B's. So everything here is acceptable. So if this was a real case scenario and these are the real volumes, and someone asked me to come up with a signal timing, I would probably suggest that, hey, we should probably have a protected permissive left turn phase here, as well as the fully protected one here. And it would really help out if you added a right turn lane and then a right turn overlap. If you do those options and you, so if you can do those options and then you can optimize your splits, you'll get good levels of service that would be appropriate. So that's kind of all I wanted to show today in this example, just how you can kind of play with things to make things operate better. And of course, here's all your queuing information as well. And we'll talk about other modes in another class, but we can also, if we want to start putting in information on bicycles, we can get a bicycle level of service. We can get delays for pedestrians, things like that. All that stuff's important as well, because we don't just care about vehicles. So any questions? That's basically kind of what I wanted to show today. Does anyone have any questions about Vistro, things that are complicated, any questions you might have? I'm going to stop talking for a couple minutes, and just if anyone has any questions, please feel free just to ask and I'll try and answer them. All right, I'm not hearing anything. So I'm going to pull up my last slide from our class PowerPoint here. So next class, we're going to basically take what we've learned today in Vistro, but then we're going to be applying traffic signal coordination. So we're going to start again with our module 4 is going to be all about coordination. We're going to learn how to do what splits and offsets are. We're going to do some hand calculations, and then we're going to enter stuff into Vistro. When you're doing coordination, you're going to want to have probably more than one intersection. There's not much point coordinating one intersection. You'd only want to coordinate if you have a group of intersections, at least 2. And then once that's done, we're going to have, I'm going to assign assignment 2, probably around the same time as now, probably before 6 o'clock. And then you'll have the rest of the class to work on assignment 2, but it won't be due to the following week. So assignment 2 will be worth 5% of your final grade. And it will basically just involve using Vistro to set up an intersection with the data I provide, and then trying to appropriately coordinate 2 intersections together. And that's a really important part of this class is coordination, because what it does is it leads us into the term project that I'm going to introduce after reading week. And the term project is worth 20% of your final mark, and it's going to involve you working with other classmates, which is going to be a little hard because of not being able to probably see them in person, but you can at least between each other share Vistro files and do different parts of the assignment. All right, so I'm going to end this PowerPoint. Okay, and the last thing here is scenarios. So what you probably want to do here is you want to hit File, Save, and I might call this, let's say, Test, or whatever, Example, Assignment 1. Because basically what I did is I mocked what we did in Assignment 1. So I'm going to save that to here. And then you can add scenarios. So I might say this is called oops, I'm just going to close that. So this is scenario 1. So I might call this AM peak. So now what you can do is you can create a duplicate of AM peak. Whoops. Copy the AM peak, and then maybe you want to rename this. Oh, what's this thing doing? PM peak. So now all you need to do is open up the PM peak scenario here. PM peak. And all you need to do is change your volumes. So it makes it very easy to create one, and then once you've got one finalized, to change your PM. So maybe in the PM, these volumes are 75. That stays the same. Maybe this is 450. Maybe this is 1200. Maybe this left is now only 150, and maybe the through is reduced to 800. So if you come down here and look at your results, you'll see everything still seems to be operating fine, but maybe your volume's even higher yet. Maybe the left, this is 500. And these rights are maybe 500 as well. No, it still seems to be operating fine. But what you can do then is you can change your volumes, and then you can click on the basic optimization here, and it's not changing anything. So it's quite happy with how we still have it set. But if you wanted to, maybe you want a high cycle length for some reason, you could put the lower cycle length at 100, upper bound at, let's say, 120, and you can hit OK. And now it's going to change your cycle length and re-optimize it for you. All right, any questions about the scenarios here? So in Synchro, if anyone used Synchro before, you had to keep saving separate files. You'd call your file AM peak or PM peak, but in Vistro, you can actually just create different scenarios in the same file. We could have created a scenario in the AM peak maybe before we added the right turn lane, and it said, like, this is the base scenario, and this is a scenario with an extra southbound right turn lane. All right, well, with that being said, I am going to stop recording because this is a 2-hour video already. And that is basically all I wanted to get accomplished today. So hopefully after today, you have a kind of a good idea of how to use Vistro. If not, you can go back through the video and watch it if I move too fast for anyone, and go through and build an intersection. But those are basically the very basics of Vistro. We're going to get into coordination and stuff next class, but that's about it for now. So I'm going to open up the floor. I'm going to mute myself for a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, let me know. I'm just going to grab a drink here. I'm starting to lose my voice again.
Thank you, Chef. Have a good night.